We recently made a video about the lower levels of Coruscant that you guys seem to really enjoy, so today I wanted to talk about a little something different. What about level 1 of Coruscant? What lie at the absolute deepest layer of the planet-spanning city? Level 1 was designated as the lowest megastructure level constructed on the planet of Coruscant, and according to Legends continuity, if you only look at the surface, the most that you can glean is that it is uninhabitable. We know that Coruscant began construction roughly 100,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. The only real mention of the lowest level of Coruscant that we have in canon is the Star Wars Absolutely Everything You Need to Know book, which was published in 2015 as the first part in the first wave of Star Wars canon novels. This novel was written in part to build up anticipation for The Force Awakens, having little details on the film before anything else did. Essentially, this is the only mention that we have in canon on the first level of Coruscant, and all that it mentions is that it's uninhabitable. The only other very brief time that it shows up is actually in a 2017 addition to Star Wars lore, being Star Wars Adventures number 25. In this, we follow Lael and Holdo, and all that is mentioned is, you can't even get to level 1 of Coruscant. Level 5 is as low as you can go. So if we don't have any information on what Coruscant looks like right now, what could it have looked like before the city was complete? And could this give us any idea of what the first level really holds before we turn to the pages of Legends continuity? Originally, Coruscant has 5,217 levels. The highest level was designated and set aside for the Jedi Order, politicians, and the wealthiest individuals in the entire galaxy. It was also one of the most technologically advanced places in the universe. The Republic and then the Empire all stemmed from Coruscant. It was considered the crown jewel of known space. But even though it was the crown jewel of the Republic, it is known that the Republic itself could not reach the lower levels of Coruscant, especially level 1. In fact, it's altogether entirely possible that level 1 of Coruscant hasn't even heard of the Republic before. That there's an entirely different ecosystem going on down there. Something completely separate from the Jedi, Sith, politics, and normal everyday life in the Star Wars galaxy. This is a world in and of itself. A place with mutants, hideous creatures that have never seen sunlight, artificial or otherwise, never shared a breath of fresh air with anyone in their entire existence. All we really have are rumors about level 1. Some say that it contains no oxygen whatsoever down there, that being in the vacuum of space is safer due to all of the toxins released, toxins built up over thousands of years by billions of inhabitants above. Some have even said that no light exists on the first level of Coruscant. It is a place of pitch black nothingness, a place perhaps not even disease can live any longer. This is what is written. The actual surface of the planet has been thoroughly buried. Those parts of the planet not covered by urban terrain include only small artificial lakes and the polar ice caps. The only place where the soil or rock of the planet sees daylight is the Monument Plaza at the pinnacle of the Manarai mountain range. The planet is not inert, and the site of the Imperial City was a volcanic plain, and at least one massive eruption is recorded in the legendary pre-Republic history. However, Coruscant is a tame world today, and its inhabitants probably employ geological engineering technologies in order to ameliorate natural tectonic and volcanic processes. This is what we know about the surface of Coruscant. It has also been recorded that Coruscant once contained large oceans, and of course, was known for its breathtaking mountain ranges. All of these mountain ranges at this point have been covered by city. But what is to say is that Coruscant may have looked a lot like our world does today. Many believe that the lower levels of Coruscant could look like the undercity of Terrace, a mechanical wilderness on the ground level, beneath their upper, middle, and lower levels, and above the sewers was the underground city of Terrace. In Terrace, it was said that a century ago, rising levels of toxic pollution poisoned the oceans, and famine swept the planet. The rich hoarded food for their own, and the poor were left to starve and to die, as others looked up. It is a place of mutants, freaks, disease. It was known that many were banished to the lower levels of Terrace, which could also be said for Coruscant, sent there and locked away in the lower levels for crimes committed either by them or their ancestors. Although information is extremely scarce, we do believe we found something that may reside in level 1 of Coruscant, known as the Corasanti ogre. What makes this species so unique is no one can trace their origins anywhere else but Coruscant, meaning that at some point in time they were abandoned in the lower levels of the city, forgotten, untraced to their original home. Or perhaps Coruscant is their original home. Perhaps we can put a name to the freaks and the mutants, known as the Corasanti ogres. What's important about the Corasanti ogre is that they live below level 5, a place no others are permitted to venture. No one knew how many Corasanti ogres managed to come from Coruscant, or knew how many roamed the Undercity. Regardless of their origin though, they were classified as being another of the world's many unpleasant secrets. Planetary officials were content not so much about these brutish dwellers that populated the areas beneath the gleaming spires of the upper city, and had to keep them at bay. During the era that was still the rise of the Galactic Empire, the Coruscant Wildlife Management Department had the unstated responsibility for the ogres, and were given a generous amount of money to ensure that the ogres were kept confined in regions where they could have no contact with people. However, incompetent and corrupt bureaucrats from other government departments secretly exported a number of ogres off the world of Coruscant, and with the CWMD unable to deal with the matter as they had little oversight, ultimately, none truly cared if a few ogres somewhere went missing, and the problem remained quiet. These creatures were apparently then domesticated and experimented on, as they were physically extremely intimidating and had a violent nature. After this, their brains were given cybernetic implants, and ultimately, their purpose was to turn these now docile creatures into a small workforce of organic droids, reducing the money needed to contain them. Corasanti ogres were also smuggled out of Coruscant by slavers and hunters alike, and their existence was a miserable one. No two Corasanti ogres ever looked the same, each of them twisted in their own unique way due to the pollution of the world. While most of the ogres demonstrated similar features such as sparse patches of hair, leathery skin, and large misshapen heads with wide mouths containing jagged teeth, it is interesting to note that they were very different from one another. Millennia of exposure to sewage, pollution, and reactor radiation, as well as poor diet, had destroyed the ecosystem of Coruscant's lower levels, and contributed to the ogres' deformed, motley, mutated appearances. It was even believed once that these creatures had been primates, and were closely related to humans. However, their true origins are completely unconfirmed. So my friends, while unfortunately we cannot directly go to the level of Coruscant that we want to today, in levels 1 through 4, we do have a chance to look at the creatures that are from there to get an idea of what it looks like. A place of pure darkness and pollution, but a place where these life forms have still survived, and yet have been defined. So, while for some, Coruscant is a world of dreams, of glitz, glamour, wealth, beauty, for others, it is a realm of endless horror, just beneath their feet. Beneath all of the beauty, the waste, the corruption, lay the truly depraved, the truly lost, ogres of the deep. And so my friends, that was level 1 of Coruscant, and those that inhabit it. As always, my fellow scholars of the Force, thank you so much for visiting our archives today, and as always, may the Force be with you.